Why so many guitars?
Well, there's only 6.
Okay.
There's only 6. Basically, for this tour, we're traveling with 6 guitars, but they're really in pairs of 2 because of the different tunings. So the main number 1, which is, this is the prototype for the L4. Obviously, the stack single or single coil pickups, it does have the dB boost, just like all the others. Well, except for Goldie. But this is the new prototype. We got this early last year, and he's been using it. Standard tuning, 9-gauge strings.
The pickups are early ball music man.
Yes, yes. And this was the, you've probably seen this. This was his main guitar for a long time until the L4 series came out. This is a little different. Obviously, it's got the humbucker in the bridge. Still has the 12 dB boost. They're all pretty similar, but they do have sonic differences. So these 2 are standard tuning, correct. And then we move to the E-flat tuning, half step down. Again, it's not 9-gauge strings. And this is the E-flat guitars, you know, songs like Hold the Line, Home of the Brave, that sort of thing. That's his main guitar for E-flat.
Humbuckers also.
Yes, dual humbuckers on this.
Music man.
Yes, all the pickups in these
are... No more DiMarzios.
No more DiMarzios.
Okay.
Goldie, he's had for a long, long time. Obviously, this is a Luke model, and these are EMGs. So this is probably the biggest difference in tone.
No boost.
No boost. It's, you know, just a fixed volume, and they're the EMG X pickups. It's definitely brighter, has a little different character than any of the other guitars. And he will use this occasionally on certain songs where he wants more high-end, but for out here on this tour, we're just using it as a backup for this guy.
Okay.
So, as I was explaining, they're kind of in pairs. You know, so this is your backup for the E-flat. And then we move over to this is an L3. Same, it does have the boost, and this is a whole step down, so D standard tuning, and because it's a whole step, we have 10 gauge on this guitar, so it feels the same or similar. 9s would be too loose, not enough tension, so we string these up with 10 gauge, and these 2 are pretty similar. One's a quilt top, and then we have a flame top here. Same guitar, same tuning, same 10 gauge strings, still has the boost.
And the shape of the neck is the same in all?
The Luke model has more of kind of a soft V shape to it, whereas the L4s are more of a C taper and a bit thinner. He got this one, I want to say early last year. So we've had this for a couple of years already, and then he'll be getting more. But most of the time, you know, that's about all he needs. Of course we have spares, but yeah, I generally will restring the main guitar and the main E-flat guitar. The 10 gauge will last a little longer, but I generally change those out every 2 shows.
Okay.
So, you know, or if, you know, as necessary. But you know, this guitar is only on 2 songs, and this guitar is only on 2 songs. So, but this one gets played pretty heavily in Hold the Line and Home of the Brave, so I don't like taking any chances, so I wind up restringing that one every day as well.
Okay.
These guys.
Oh, thanks.
Sure. Yeah, a lot of people wonder how they can, you know, when you're used to a normal size pick and you hold it like a normal pick, it can get a little unstable. So he kind of has a lot more thumb sticking out, so he can lock it in, and you know it's real stable. So you'll notice when he picks, he holds it back quite a bit rather than you know, like that.
like
So
a regular
yeah, so there's a lot of thumb, and you can feel when you do that, it kind of
because,
stabilizes it.
a regular one.
Right, right. But these are so small, you know, he holds it like that.
With my neck.
Oh, great. Right on. But yeah, he's been using these ever since he was young.
Yeah.
And we go through literally thousands and thousands and thousands. Each run, each tour, I usually start with somewhere.
Who does? Download or
You know, that's a good. We get them outsourced through
okay.
Ernie Ball. So to be honest, I'm not even sure.
Okay.
But yeah, we get about 2,500 to 5,000 at a time, and that lasts us for a week. No, I'm just kidding. No, that'll get us through, you know, a year or so. But we go through quite a bit. Oh, these are ours. Yeah, we have done rentals, but it's, you know, we're more comfortable with our own equipment, you know, and you never know when you're renting backline what you're going to get. So it's a lot more less worrisome when you travel with your own gear. These settings aren't even really applicable. This is essentially a power amp, so that it's just the effects return on this side. But I match the front end with the second just in case. Yeah, and I also have a third amp back there in case something goes down. But these amps are so well built. I mean, every now and then a tube will fail, but very rarely. And that's why we have a backup there too. But yeah, it's, you know, a pretty basic rig.
The volume is high? Because I was listening when you were playing and the volume was...
No, it's not very loud at all. We do channel switch. There are a couple of songs where he's using a clean sound. And over here on the pedal board, you can see here we have the foot switch, and that's for the clean channel. And then we have when we do a clean sound, he'll also use the compressor. So that's why they're kind of next to each other. So he can just tap and change. But the pedal board, this is a new design that my good friend Jerry Nepomuceno and I worked on earlier this year.
It's from the gig rig? No.
These are gig rig, the switchers, but we're on Chalk's power supplies. You can see under the board here. So we have 3 different power supplies, so we can power just about anything we want. Of course, the I/O. We have a buffer, which is also gig rig, the humdinger, which is being hit first from the guitar. So we're coming in from the wireless, you know, into the I/O, and then into the buffer, and then from the buffer we're going right to the wah pedal. So from the wah, then what we're doing is hitting this first quartermaster, which contains the phase and the univibe, which is underneath, and after those two, then we're hitting the volume pedal. Okay, and then after the volume, we're going into the second gig rig, which has the Mark III driver, which is labeled lead, and the SLOD here, which you can hear it. After that, we hit the Strymon Lex rotary pedal, and that goes into the main Bogner input, which is the amp on the right. You can tell because there's nothing plugged into the left in the front. So after we hit the input of the Bogner, we're coming out of the effects send on the back of the main amp, and that's being returned back to the I/O, and then we start our post effects. First thing in line is the Buenos, which is sort of like an analog Benson, an old Benson like Echo rack. Right? We're coming mono in, and then we're going mono out to the input of the TC chorus. And here's where the signal gets split into stereo. So everything from here on is stereo in, stereo out. So from the chorus, then we're hitting the flashback, which is one of his main delays, actually. He uses this a lot of the time. After that, we're hitting the 2290, again, stereo in and out. Well, they're set differently. This one, the 2290 is set at 500 milliseconds. This is actually on a ping pong setting, so he can get a little back and forth between the stereo spread. After the 2290, we're hitting the short delay, which is a little bit lower than the 500, which he'll engage every now and then for certain things. Stereo in and out. And then last in the chain is the new Halo, which is always on. It never turns it off. And it's basically Andy Timmons' preset. Andy came out and brought him the pedal, and Luke wanted to try it, and we set it right up on Andy's sound, and maybe a little tweak here and there, and it's always on. So that's become one of his favorite delays at this point. But again, it's more for ambience, whereas this is more.
You can hear
Exactly. The ping pong on songs like "Home of the Brave," you'll hear that. But as far as that's pretty much the pedal board there. Adding the quartermasters really cleaned up the front end of the rig.
And you travel with the second pedalboard?
Yep. Yeah, everywhere we go. You know, in a system like this where all the cables are tied down, if something were to go wrong, it could be very time consuming to fix. Yeah.
You are famous because of that.
Oh boy. Yeah, that was not a fun day, that's for sure.